I am very excited to review today and do an unboxing of the Corpse Bride ReAction figures by Super 7. And I want to first start by giving a big thank you to Super 7 for sending me these to review. I didn't know how many there were going to be in the series or what they were even going to look like, but they're amazing. And just like the Roger Rabbit figures, if you are a fan of Corpse Bride, you're going to probably want some to keep on the card and then some to take out of the card. Now, I didn't know who they were going to have. I thought maybe they would just do a one-off and do just Corpse Bride, but they actually did 3, and I think that's kind of what they've been doing. Like, they've been doing odd number ones. Like, with the Roger Rabbit figures, they did 5, and usually I see them do like 2, 4, or 6. So they're doing like the odd numbers now, and so there's 3. And honestly, it's a good collection. If you really like this movie, if you like Tim Burton movies, it's like perfect. Let's start with General Wellington. And again, I note, like, the card stock is really good, and that's why if you're going to open these and you really love this movie so much, you might want 2 of these because it's a good quality card. The cards that I've been getting from a lot of other figures were like just flimsy, like falling apart almost kind of feel, but not these. These are really high quality. Here is the General. So, what I'll say to you right away is that they are so thin. These joints, the arms, the limbs, they're so thin. So you want to be really careful with. So here's a close-up of General Wellington. Now, he doesn't have the biggest part in the movie, but he is one of those side characters that Tim Burton is known so well for. You can see all the little details here, the hole in his chest, the ribs. He's got this gold hat on, gloves. He is skin and bones, and therefore doesn't stand up. He is very skinny. I couldn't get him to stand up at all. Now, his arms are jointed, but the bone is so thin that I'm afraid to force it, and I can't get it to move really at all. I tried. The other arm also, it's in a bent pose, but I couldn't get that to move, so I wasn't going to force it. The head did move a little bit. I turned it left to right, but that was about as far as I can get it. Now, the legs seem to be together. I couldn't move one individually from the other. They must be in one piece. So if you're going to move them, they both move at the same time. He does have accessories, a little mug and a bottle, and both actually do fit in his hands really well. The mug slides in right over his thumb, and he can hold it pretty easily. The bottle, you just put the neck of the bottle in the one hand, and he holds them perfectly. All right, let's open Victor. Here is Victor. The Roger Rabbit action figures were definitely made more bulky as a true retro action figure, like a Star Wars figure, right? Like a true 70s, 80s, 3¼ inch figure. The Corpse Bride figures are made so extremely true to, I mean, look at how skinny his legs are and his arms. So they really tried to stay true to the characters and to the puppets and the stop motion puppets. So here is the groom, Victor. He has got all the correct markings, the stripes on the pants. He even looks like he's got little rips in the coat, like from the movie as well. And you can see he is skinny and spindly. His arms do move. I was able to move both of his arms pretty much most of the way. His head, I just could not get to turn. It was just stuck in place and it would not move. And sadly, the same thing with the legs. I tried to bend it. I was afraid that it could just snap. I think they might be like the General's legs where they moved in one piece, so I did not want to force it at all. Now, he came with an accessory, his dog Scraps. Now, the good thing about that is Scraps stands up on his own, and if you put Victor's feet sort of around him, he'll then stand up. Scraps actually is articulated in the head, so you can move the head from side to side. And of course, he stands up just fine on his own. So for the purpose of review, I'm opening it, but I'm so hesitating to open this, and I'll tell you why. It looks like, well, it is, yeah. She has a veil, and the veil is fabric, and it looks very, very delicate. There is a little bit of fraying. So again, if this is your favorite movie of all time, if this is something that like you can't live without and you have to have this, you're going to want to get two. You're just going to want to, because you're going to want to leave one on card for sure, or just leave it on card altogether. I'm almost recommending that would be what you do. Like you just buy them to leave them on card, or you buy a second one that you know you're gonna open and you're okay if it gets a little knocked around. Taped in at the top, you see, because she won't come out, and she's rubber banded in from the back. So you've got to be aware of that when you open her. All right, which is one little snip. Okay, so yes, her veil. I thought her veil was going to be plastic from what it looked like in the picture. The veil is this delicate, thin fabric. Can you see? And like a little bit of like fraying at the end. You see that? So you're going to want to be very, very careful with this, because that's going to be something to look out for. It looks great. I'm kind of glad that they did. I don't know that I would have minded if it was plastic, and it looked like it was on the picture. They had a 3D turnaround, and it looked like it was, but it isn't. And I really applaud them for going this extra step and adding fabric to it. So here is the corpse bride herself, Emily, and as you can see, her likeness is right out of the movie. I'm surprised they were able to get that level of detail in such a small figure. For 3¼ inches, this actually looks really, really, really good. Now, as you can see, she does have the one bone arm here, and she does have another regular arm. Now, they are jointed, but the one bone arm didn't want to go up too much, and it's so thin that I was afraid to push it any further. Now the other arm actually goes up a little bit higher, and it kind of stops right there. So I didn't want to force anything too much. Her hair just doesn't allow for her head to turn. I don't know if it does on its own anyway, so I just kind of left it as is. Now here is the veil I was talking about. It really is a great extra touch. I'm surprised that they put this on there. They could have just made it plastic, but it does fray a little bit. There is a little bit at the edges, so you're going to want to be very, very careful about that when you're handling her. Now she does have feet, but I don't think they're movable at all. If they are, they would be like the other two, maybe in one piece. But with the dress, you can't really move it. At least with the dress, she stands up fine on her own. So the accessory she comes with is this bouquet of dead flowers. It's actually in 2 pieces, it looks like. And you can get it in her hand, the one bone hand. It stays in there if you prop it in there just right. But if you move it or bang into it, it's going to come right out. So you want to be careful about that because it is such a very small accessory, but she can hold it with a little bit of effort. So I don't actually have many Corpse Bride collectibles, even though I love the movie so much, but this 17-inch doll came out in 2006, and it was by June Planning. It came directly from Japan, and it was expensive at the time, at least for back then, but it looks just like the puppet in the film, and I had to have it. I absolutely love it. It's still in the box, and I've barely touched it.
The other figure that I loved is the McFarlane figure that came out in 2005 when the movie was released. Unfortunately, the joints did degrade over time and fell apart, and now her arms are glued in place. But at least I have a brand new figure to add to the collection.
If you're a huge fan of this movie and you've really got to have these, I would say leave them on the card. Quite honestly, I'm seriously saying that I think if you're such a fan and you have to have these, you should probably leave at least these two on the card, because they're unless you have some kind of stand or something for them to lean against, they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna stand on their own. And I don't even I know some people put a little tacky stuff at the bottom. I don't know that I like. I don't know that I trust that. I sometimes use that tacky stuff, and it can leave a grease stain if you're not careful. So they look amazing. I'll tell you that. They went so far as to get the details of what Tim Burton created for the puppets perfectly. So they look absolutely incredible. They look like the puppets. They look like the characters. I think that's a first where I see, the eyes have a round circle around them to, again, make them look more like the puppets, which I think is really, really cool. The fact that they went so far as to go that extra detail. So here is a little comparison. Here is Jessica and Emily together. Oh my gosh, at last, finally, I have a Jessica action figure and a Corpse Bride action figure in the same scale. I can't believe that. So it looks like Jessica's a little bit taller than Emily is. People were talking say, shouldn't Jessica's waist be a little skinnier? And look how skinny Corpse Bride, Corpse Bride's top half looks like what I think people were thinking for Jessica, if you can see. But Disney might not have allowed, or it's Disney and it's Amblin, which is Steven Spielberg's company, might have said no. It's got to look. You have to tame it down. She can't look exactly like this. This is Warner Brothers. Actually, Warner Brothers owns Corpse Bride, so you can see they went in on the detail. They didn't change it. They really stayed true. They gave that very skinny waist, and yeah, I mean you can see the difference. Now, for this, it works because it's a Tim Burton character. We know it looks like this. We know Tim Burton's characters look very skinny and that kind of thing. Bony is how they're supposed to look. So that may not have looked right. I mean, I'm sure they went through different designs. It may not have looked right for Jessica because she fits in scale better with the rest of that line. And we know that there's a wave 2 coming, so they're gonna all fit together nicely. So, and when you look at these are of course all skinny. They're all they work together. Whereas if one of the designs was too bulky, then the other character wouldn't work. So someone said, where did they say it? I don't remember. I think it was on one of my posts that these would be great on top of a wedding cake. They're like the perfect size, for a wedding cake. I'm really, really, really impressed with how far they went to make these look exactly like the puppets, exactly like the movie, the stop motion puppets in the movie. They could have changed it. They could have made them bulky to fit a retro feel, retro action figure feel, but they actually stayed true. And I think these will work. I haven't seen the Nightmare ReAction figures in a while. I have seen them out in the stores. It's been a while, and I don't have them, but I think they almost did the same thing where they stayed true. They kept the limbs and things a little bit on the thinner side. I don't know if they're as thin as these. These, I think, might be the thinnest, skinniest. I mean, they're so skinny. They might be the skinniest action figures I think I've ever seen in any scale. The detail on these figures is getting better and better and better, and Super 7's character selection just keeps growing. So I really want to see them keep doing what they're doing, making more, all the different characters. These cards, the ones for Corpse Bride, are incredible. I mean, the shaped cards with the details on it, you know, like a decaying, decrepit tombstone, and then the back's got the information on the back. But these are actually way, way better cards. I'm really impressed that they went the extra mile to make them with the shape. And if you do, if this is, some people this is important too, but if you do order directly from Super 7, they don't punch the holes. They're there, but they're unpunched. And you get them at the store, you get the hole punched through, or if you even get them from another retailer that may have them, not only are you waiting, which some people may like because they compile things together to save on shipping. So if you're buying a lot of things, it works for that. But if you want them right away, go to super7.com and you'll have them for order right now. And the cards are like immaculate. This is the second time that I've gotten from them directly. The other was the Roger Rabbit figures, and the cards are like perfect. Thank you for joining me again. Thank you to Super 7 for sending me these to review. They're amazing. They're incredible. You can go to super7.com and they have these for sale. I have it in my feed. If you look, there's like links right to it if you want to get it. And I would highly, highly recommend them. And honestly, to be honest, if you are a huge fan of this movie, I would recommend even them leaving them on card, hanging them up, because they looked really amazing. Or you're gonna have to get two, which I have done.